So you know there's like the rabbit hole of the internet where you just start off at one thing and then 12 hours later you're like, wow, what did I just spend all day doing? That happened to me today. So I started off, I was watching the new Vlogbrothers video with Hank talking about North Korea and how we kind of shouldn't really be worried about it. And then I was flipping through the comments because, you know, you do that sometimes. And I saw somebody posting, hey, have you seen the Vice documentary about North Korea? So I thought, nah, I'll check that out. It turns out that Vice did not one, not two, but 3 documentaries about North Korea. One about getting into the country itself and being on the official state visit and being, you know, constantly on guard because Korea and the second one was about the film industry. I say film industry because it was kind of also part of the state visit. Watch the documentary, you'll see what I'm talking about. And then the other one was about Korean labor camps in Siberia. So then I was on Twitter and I said something about how I was watching these documentaries about North Korea and how batshit crazy they are. And then my friend Brian said, oh, the National Geographic documentary they did on it was probably one of the best ones I've ever seen. And I was like, okay, so now I gotta go see if I can find that somewhere. So I went on the National Geographic website and there it was in all of its 45-minute glory. So then, you know, after I finished that and I was like, wow, yeah, they're really dedicated to their beliefs. I was just then continuing down the rabbit hole of National Geographic website and finding more documentaries to watch. And then you find me now at 2 o'clock in the morning after watching many videos about things, and it's all in my head now and I don't know what to do with them. I mean, personally, I'm not too worried about the whole we have a nuke and we're gonna fire it on you, considering that I live in Ohio, which is pretty famous for being a really long way away from Pyongyang. But it does pay for me to kind of pay attention to these things, considering the fact that I'm now certified to go to other countries and teach English, and some of the countries that I'm looking at are kind of in firing range of North Korea. One thing I was noticing that was interesting, many people pronounce it North Korea, kind of like that Oasis song, Champagne Supernova. In a champagne supernova in the sky. They say supernova, and I know it's the accent. But yeah, just every single time somebody said North Korea, I'm starting my new career in South Korea. Anyway, I guess here's some fun facts for you, because I've been watching a lot of stuff today. Fact number 1, if you do manage to get to North Korea as a tourist, which can happen, it's very expensive and also requires you to be in China to begin with, and you can just bribe them to let you in. They will take you on the state-sanctioned tour of what they want you to see, and that includes the 2 railway stations that they made all nice and pretty just for tourists to look at, and it's very reminiscent of Stalinist Russia that was all like, make it pretty for the Westerners to look at and they'll realize how great communism is, and then everybody will be communist. It's not how it works. Fact number 2, there's a town in Brazil, and I don't know how to pronounce it because I was terrible at Spanish, and I think that's actually Portuguese, so Spanish and Portuguese I can't, no, not even gonna try. There's a town that is pretty famous for kind of being overwhelmingly full of twins. They call this process twinning, gay. And for a long time, people thought it was because there was this crazy Nazi dude, the Angel of Death, who was going through and like experimenting on people and making them have twins. But then science came in and was like, no, you kinda can't make people just spontaneously produce twins constantly through the generations. It's not how it works. So they're pretty sure it's just because there were 8 families that settled the town, and then one person had the twins gene, and they've been passing it on just by all this inbreeding, and so like everybody is a twin now. Family trees and genetics, yay! Fact number 3, that all 4 of the Romanov daughters probably were carriers of the hemophiliac gene, but we don't know for certain because they were, you know, they're girls, and girls don't exhibit the actual symptoms of it. It's a boys only thing. But when one of the daughters, Marie, was getting like surgery in her mouth, she was bleeding way more than you're supposed to bleed, and they're like, oh, she probably is carrying the gene, so maybe her sons are all gonna die from it. But then they were all tragically murdered. And fact number 4, the guys who dropped the bomb on Hiroshima, they were like only 500 feet off of their target, which is a pretty impressive feat considering they were dropping it from like 32,000 feet in the air. You know, I say that's impressive as in like targeting wise, like that's, you know, great spotting for 1945 technology, but you know, really did we have to, kill 70,000 people? Anyway, long story short, North Korea is insane, and if you think you know how insane they are, you don't, because you should watch all these documentaries that I watched today, and then you will really realize, like, whoa, the power of brainwashing and isolationism. Anyway, thanks for watching. I will see you guys at another point in the future in your brain spaces and faces and eye holes and things. Okay, bye!